Are you looking for a weather station to give you hyper-local weather with no moving parts and no batteries to replace? Then you're in the right place. Hello, I'm Wanderer001 and this is my review of the Tempest Weather Station. The weather system itself, from the base to the top of the sensor, is 8.2 inches. If you add on the extra pole mount, you add an extra 3.5 inches in height, and the diameter of the sensor up here is 4.23 inches. You get a lot of technology packed into this little system. Let's start off at the top, which I did allude to. You have a haptic rain sensor right here, meaning just the rain droplets landing on this are actually what will give you your rain totals. That's a really cool feature because you don't have to empty out a rain collector to measure how much rain you'll get. This will do it for you. The one downfall, it doesn't work very well with sleet or snow or mist. So that's one thing to keep in mind with a haptic rain sensor like that. Up at the top, right here, we have our light sensor for ambient light, UV light, and solar radiation. That's a lot to take in for just a little sensor right there. However, invaluable if you are one who uses solar panels, two, somebody who's not really supposed to be out in the sun or turns into a lobster when they're out in the sun too long. Knowing the high points of UV light and solar radiation could be very helpful for you. Coming down, might be a little hard to see under there, but those are actually your sonic wind sensors. What this does is as air passes through them, the sonic wave is disrupted and it notes how fast the wind is moving through them. And this little indicator right here, when you set it up, you point it true north, and this lets all these sensors know exactly where the wind is coming from. So not only do you get speed, but you get what direction. And the fact that there's nothing in here that the wind has to push first before it starts reading, well, that means you're getting a very true and accurate wind speed and direction. The sensor also updates every 3 seconds. Coming down, hidden behind these vents is your temperature, humidity, and pressure sensors. Now, the vents are designed in such a way that this can sit in direct sunlight and not affect temperature, pressure, or anything of the like, which is very useful for something like this that's going to be out in direct sunlight, because powering the station right here are 4 solar panels. So that's why I said you don't have to replace batteries in this. It has solar panels, and it's also why you face it true north to help get as much sun as possible. And then one more sensor that's kind of hiding here is actually a lightning sensor. So that's really something that I haven't seen on a lot of other weather stations, which is primarily why I ended up going with the Tempest system here. Knowing when lightning strikes is kind of cool. How do you view all the data that this is gathering? You do it through an app, which means that there's a setup process for the Tempest station here. So why don't we take a quick look at what the setup process was like for the Tempest. This will be setup of the Tempest weather system. Here you kind of see a smattering of what comes in the box. You get the Tempest weather station itself, as well as a pole mount, a mounting screw. So if you're going to just use the base here, they give you a screw to put that where you like. And then here is our station that actually just plugs in and does not need a connection to your Ethernet. Here you have your instructions, which instruct you to, here's everything that comes in, and download the app. So if you have not done so yet, you're going to want to download the app, and then we're just going to bring the app into focus here. So I'm going to select getting started. It's going to want to know where you are because, well, this is a weather station and it wants to make it so that it knows exactly where your location is. So we're going to say allow. You have to create an account. So I'm not going to walk you through that, but we're going to create an account off camera. What I neglected to press the record button for was the screen before this, which was just make sure that your cell phone has its Bluetooth on and allow access for the Tempest app to access your Bluetooth. Now we're on the get your hub and plug it in phase, as long as it's within range of your Wi-Fi. So I'm going to plug that in, and you're going to see there's a red light on the back. It doesn't say anything about blinking red light or green light, so we're going to say next because we plugged everything in. After that, we're going to get the Tempest weather station itself and unscrew the bottom portion right here, which is simply just unlock, and there is going to be a QR code and an on-off switch on the bottom of that. And we're going to turn that on, slightly off camera again because there is a QR code and I don't know if I'm going to need that. Once the weather station's on, you'll know it's on because it's going to be blinking green. We're going to select next. First step is to confirm your hub's serial number. So I'm going to move that off camera, and we're going to confirm that. And now it's bringing up a map, so I'm not going to show this on camera, but I will set my location on this map. Select next. After which it's asking me to name my weather station with a public profile, so I'm giving it a name. Now it's searching for the weather station itself to display the serial number on the bottom. And the light is blinking rapid green now on the base of the weather station, and it is showing me the actual serial number, which I'm going to confirm. And now it's saying that I have added this weather station to my account. So I can add another, or I'm just going to select next. To complete the next steps, you will need your Wi-Fi network information. So I am going to select my IoT network very quickly to have my phone connected to it, so that I can just select next and see what it does. Hopefully, all right, so brings up the one that I'm on. I'm going to have to put in my password. We'll let it connect. All right, so it's successfully attached. And it says we are all set. Now you can place your Tempest sensor device outside and let weather data flow. So show me the weather, or I can see installation tips. Well, it's not really going to do any good showing me the weather because, well, it's inside right now. So I'm going to do setting up tips. And then it's really just going to walk you through the setup process for pretty much everything. Okay, so that actually was the setup of the Tempest. The rest is actually install. Now, before we get to the Tempest station itself a little more, we'll talk about some of the other things that came in the box. Well, here, this is your pole mount, which I will say it is nice that they included this. They also have a mount that you can mount this to a deck or fence or something like that, which is actually how I have it mounted currently. However, I would prefer to use this so that I could stick it out in my yard and get better sun. You also have the base station. This base station is actually what connects the Tempest station to your internet. This acts as a hub between the two. I will say, one of the things that I really like about this weather station, aside from not having to buy batteries for it, even though you have something plugged into your electricity, the amount of power that this uses is almost nothing. It uses, when transmitting data, 0.8 watts of power. That is only 78 cents a year for hyperlocal weather. You can't beat it. I talked about what the actual weather station can gather, but let's talk about the construction of it. I have been using this for just over half a year right now, so it's been out in the elements. And just in case you were wondering, the paint there and there did not change color or disappear. This is how it was sent to me. So I don't know if this is an older unit, because a lot of the ones that I've watched reviews for, this is blue and that's blue, or if maybe they have older units and this is the newer unit. That aside, let's talk about what we got here. The haptic sensor on the top, no issues. You can see it is a little dirty because I pulled it in right before we started getting a little rain, but that has functioned flawlessly. When we come into our sonic wind sensor, up there, there's not really a problem, but right there, you can kind of see the paint started coming off. And I can't tell if it was because of the sonic wind sensor, because I noticed that during a very cold spell and saw the paint peeling. I thought it was ice. I ran my finger through there and it just pulled off a bunch of paint. Has that hindered its actual operation? No, but it is a data point. Just want you to know. Now, if you are concerned about operating temperature for the weather station here, you are looking at temperatures between -40 degrees and 125 degrees Fahrenheit. So you're set there. It also has an IP rating of 66. Next, we're going to look at the actual fins. You can see there, it's all plastic, but they are in good shape. Solar panels also have been in good shape. But aside from just that little thing there, that's really the only thing that I've had negative about the Tempest system. So one of the reasons that you are getting a weather station is because you want super local accurate data. Now, how does the Tempest station do that? Weatherflow, the creators of the Tempest station here, have something that they call nearcast technology. Pretty much what that does is that takes your Tempest station other local weather data, including other Tempest stations in your area, runs that through an AI, sends it back down to you, and then gives you an accurate local weather forecast. So you actually become part of the Tempest system. You can keep your Tempest station hidden from other users, but the data will always be sent and aggregated through Weatherflow's AI. That's not a bad thing. However, you can also access just your data from your Tempest station. However, both of those you either do through the website or, the more convenient way, the application. So let's take a look at the app for the Weatherflow system here. This is the application for the Tempest Weather Station. Starting here at the top in the left, you see the name of your Tempest station, in my case, Wanderer 001 Tempest Station. You can select the down arrow, and if you had multiple Tempest stations, you can actually select it from your list there. Over here on the right, that is your actual Tempest station. We'll talk about that in a moment, because right here, you are seeing weather data, and that weather data is after your information has been sucked out of your weather station and sent and processed through their AI. So this is giving you a AI massaged weather reading for your location. So right here you can see for my current filming time, it is 46 degrees, it feels like 46, 56 relative humidity. The barometric pressure is dropping in hectopascals. It is cloudy. You see that there is a slight breeze from the east-southeast at 2 miles an hour, and you might see that kind of raise up a little bit as we go around talking. Here it is UV index, or UV is at 0. That's because I'm currently filming this when it is dark out. You have your actual weather. So right now it is today, rain likely, 100% chance of rain currently. 32 degrees is the low, 52 degrees is the high. I wish they did have these reversed where I would see the high first and then the low, but that's a personal preference. And then we have sunrise and sunset, and then we can scroll throughout the day and see what our weather is going to be like. And that's going to show you, is it raining, is it partly cloudy, temperature, percent chance, and then what direction the wind is coming from. So that's really cool. And then if you scroll down here, you kind of get that outlook going for several days. And if I open any one of these, it will show me exactly what's going on. And that's going to, again, be going through the AI. And if I wanted to close that, I simply tap again. Down here at the bottom, we have 3 options. First being weather, which brings us to this screen. So if you're somewhere else, it brings you back to our main home screen. You have your history, and then your history has several different things that you can kind of look up. You've got day, week, month, year, and then all time. So if I did the week, it will show me air temperature, min, max, and average, relative humidity, again, min, max, average, sea level pressure, lightning strikes. So I haven't had any lightning strikes recently. Wind, so min, max, and then average, and it even tells you what direction it came from. Rain, haven't had any rain recently, again, within the last week that this is doing. UV index, so minimum of 0, maximum of 4.2, and then an average of 0.7. Solar radiation, brightness and lux. I mean, there's a lot that you can pull out of your history. Last is actually our settings, but we can get to our settings from another location as well. So we're going to come back to our main area. And I'm coming back to the main area because, again, I kept stating this goes through the AI. However, if we come up here and select the icon that looks like a Tempest station like you have, it's actually going to be the raw data from your actual Tempest station before it's processed by the AI. So here you can see temperature, dew point, humidity, barometric pressure, and showing trending falling. Here you can actually see lightning strike. I had 1 day ago. It was 24 to 26 miles away, and it last was 3 hours ago. I will say this is really cool in that I'll flash up on the screen. When you do get a lightning strike warning, you'll see that lights up as yellow. It's really cool. Here you have your wind speed. So your actual current wind speed within the last 2 to 3 minutes, and then any gusts that you have. UV, again, I'm doing this at night, won't see anything there, but you've got your brightness level and your solar radiation, which is very nice, and you're watching my winds switch around as the wind continues to blow. Currently I have no rainfall, and one thing I will state about this little icon right here with the check mark next to your little raindrop there, that indicates that it's taking an average of your weather stations in your vicinity. That's not giving you an actual raw level for your particular station. I had a friend of mine who was asking me about that because he picked one up too, and that's what he found out and relayed that information on to me because he wants exact measurements for his location. There is a way to turn that off. I'll throw it down in the description area below. That icon would be raining if it was actually raining. Here you have your battery voltage. It states good. And then down here we have information based on my particular station. So station pressure, dew point, wet bulb temperature, delta T, air density, rain duration today, and rain duration yesterday. You can get very nerdy about all of your stats here. One of the things I really like about the application, hypothetically, let's say you don't particularly care about your last lightning strike. Well, if you click and hold, you can drag this down and place it wherever you want. So you can actually move things that you find more important. So let's say I always want to know about this and this first. Maybe then I want to know about UV, and we'll put barometric pressure above lightning, so rain will always be last, but these are the things that I want to see in this order. So you can move things around. Now, the app itself is for both Android and iOS, but the website will closely mirror what you're looking at here. One thing that's different than the history that you have down here is if I select any one of these icons, I will get a history, a running tally for that particular thing. So here we can see, and this is a little easier to see on a computer, so this part I will admit, I'll come in here. Here's our history for our temperatures. And if you like data and raw data and analytical stuff, clicking into any one of these, you're going to get a lot of data. And it's really great that they give you that information. Now, I did say that the settings option right down here, you can access it from other locations. Mainly, that's because I wanted to show you this first. Clicking on our settings in the lower right will bring us to, well, the email address you have this registered to. You have sign out. You have station, so here's your manage. I can click on station, and then again, I can add another station, or if I wanted to, I can change the name, location, as well as I can set this to be private or a non-private station. Currently, I have my station private, so you won't see it on the global map, but you can do all of that from stations. Smart home integration, well, currently I have it tied up with Alexa, which is rather nice, so you can ask it, what's the weather or what's the temperature? It will give you an exact readout for your location. That's why you're getting a weather station, so that you have that exact hyperlocal readout. Temperature, selecting that, Fahrenheit or Celsius. Pressure, you have hectopascals, millimeters of mercury, inches of mercury, and millibar. You can select what you would prefer. Wind speed, lots of choices there. Miles per hour, knots, kilometers per hour, meters per second, not even gonna try, etc. Wind direction, cardinal or degrees. So swapping that, if we come back, you'll now see it says a degree rather than north, south, east, or west. Rain, inches, millimeters, or centimeters. Distance, imperial or metric. Other, imperial or metric. Alerts. So these are cool. You can have rain starts, lightning, status, selecting on or off, depending on what you want. Quality control, on or off. The rain and lightning ones are the really interesting ones. You might not think, hey, I need to know about when it starts to rain. Well, if you're like me and you film and you don't have any windows, then it's really useful knowing when there's actual rain. Likewise with a lightning strike, if you set this up with IFTTT, you can actually have a lightning strike be detected here, and then all of your lights in your house might flash or change a different color to let you know, hey, there was a lightning strike. Do I need to do this? Do I need to shut down my computers? Maybe I have to bring the kids from outside in the backyard. These are really cool. I thought I wouldn't enjoy them as much as I have, but I really do like them. And then here we have our display mode, which is always on mode. I have that off. You have full screen mode, meaning you wouldn't see the bumpers, which I'm hiding in my film here. And under more, you've got help, Tempest map, and other Weatherflow apps. If you're looking at this via the web, this will look a lot better. But if you come into the Tempest map, it's going to show you, hey, here's all the weather stations. So if I kind of pinch and zoom, so if I'll come in here, as you can see, until you start getting really close, it's going to be tricky to see. Try and do it for here. Every one of those blue dots is a weather station that somebody has shared. So if I come over and I want a weather station for Lancaster. Well, here we go. I select this one, and it's going to give me the readout of exactly for that location. And this is also why you want to be careful of your naming convention. You don't want to call it, hey, this is my name, come check out my weather station, because you are giving coordinates kind of to where you're located, which is also why I'll be changing the name of my weather station after this goes up. But that's one of the cool features of the Tempest ecosystem, is people's willingness to share their data, and it will give you hyperlocal data for that location. Because sometimes, let's be honest, data you get, not the greatest. This app, the fact that it's an app and not actually some other peripheral that you have to have in your house, makes it even better, because my wife has it on her phone, I have it on my phone, we always know what the weather is. It's great. That was a look at the app for the Tempest weather station and everything that it can do. So if not only accessing your data via an application Or from the web. Isn't enough for you? You also can use home automation, such as Alexa, ask Weatherflow the weather.
Here is your report for Wanderer 001 Tempest Station. It is 57 degrees Fahrenheit with a relative humidity of 44%. The pressure is 1023.4 hectopascals and steady. The winds are east at 0 miles per hour and gusting up to 4 miles per hour. The last lightning strike detected was 9 days ago and 24 to 26 miles away. Expect cloudy skies today with a high of 59 degrees and a low of 41 degrees.
Alexa, ask Weatherflow the temperature.
The air temperature at Wanderer 001 Tempest Station is 57 degrees Fahrenheit. Expect cloudy skies today with a high of 59 degrees and a low of 41 degrees.
So there you saw, you can ask your home assistant exactly the weather for your location. Now, the one thing that I dislike about it is that it always states the name of your weather station. Now, that is because you can have multiple weather stations per account, but that also brings up one of the other things that I didn't particularly care for with the Tempest Station here. And that is, if I wanted to make this available on the Tempest weather map so that other people could find and see my super local data, well, to me, that just says, come to my house and steal a very expensive piece of equipment, like I alluded to. The Tempest system here is not going to be a cheap weather station. You can get cheaper other weather stations, but they're not going to be this compact with no moving parts and give you all of that data, and in a usable fashion with AI. Think of it, and I hate to say it, as this is the Apple of weather stations. It's sleek, it's stylish, and if you don't tell people what it is, they probably won't pay any attention to it. After having used the Tempest system here for over half a year, I have to say, I am rather impressed. I do have a friend who is really into meteorology, and after I got one, I do believe that he ran out and got one for himself and absolutely loves it. If you are looking for an all-in-one local weather station for yourself and don't mind a slightly high sticker price, I highly recommend the Tempest Weather System by Weatherflow. With that being said, I have been Wanderer 001. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the area below. And as always, thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, consider giving it a like, as that will help other people find the video as well. If you like what I'm doing here, you can always help fuel the next review by buying me a coffee, link in the description below. Last but not least, if you want to be notified when I upload a new video, you know what to do.